got the mic, he's dropping facts all day. Anthony's like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate. But when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums.
All right, we are back for another episode of the Blitz the Bookie podcast. I'm Charlie Winkle, joined by Anthony Roberts. It is Wednesday, May the 14th, and as we speak, the New York Knicks are trying to finish out the Boston Celtics to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks.
If they can get it done, I'll be happy for them.
I picked them.
Yeah, good pick.
I picked them.
Good pick.
So, yeah, NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs in full effect right now. My Caps are down 3-1. We are in trouble, but still alive.
That's right.
Still alive.
Still in the game.
It's also mid-May, which is usually about the time in baseball that you kind of start learning who's who and what's what, who's good and who's not. And one thing that I know, Anthony, is my boys, the Baltimore Orioles, are absolutely terrible. Bottom 5 in the major leagues. Very disappointing start to the season for a really good young roster that obviously just has no pitching, but it's a shit show right now. The Orioles are bad. It's about as ugly as the first couple of days of the Diddy trial, Anthony.
Baseball, to me, is so much about pitching. It's so much about pitching. With the Diddy trial, it's more about, I don't know.
Run, and you run, dude.
Don't let your kids watch it. Don't let your kids watch it.
Oh,
That's for sure.
goodness.
Don't even let your kids talk about it. It's if you can block it on the internet.
It's getting ugly already. It's going to be a crazy trial. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And we are also 3 days away from the Preakness, which nobody cares about because your Kentucky Derby winner, Sovereignty, is not running, did not make the trip to Baltimore. So pretty underwhelming Preakness, especially for your casual fans. Me and you love horse racing. We'll be watching the Preakness, but I think overall for the sport, I don't like the decision at all. We'll get into it. We'll talk a little bit about the Preakness and everything else. So let's get into it. Anthony, how you feeling? How was your weekend? Well, how was your weekend? I know how your weekend was.
Busy like always. Glad to be with you tonight, Charlie. It's kind of the slower time in sports, but I think we have a couple really nice topics we're going to hit on today. To me, the big storyline, Charlie, is the Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe reinstated in baseball.
That's a shame.
It is.
Not a shame that they got reinstated. It's just a shame that it takes so long.
It did.
Did you hear what the commissioner said? Manfred? Did you hear what he said?
No, I didn't.
He said it was a lifetime ban. So when your life is over, the ban is over.
Look.
That's some bullshit, hey.
It is. Like,
that is not a good comment, I don't think.
I hate it. I understand it, but I hate it.
He did the worst thing you can do in sports.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And listen,
right?
Yes, he did.
He did. It's worse than steroids.
Yeah.
Obviously,
if he was betting
against
against his team, then yes. Betting for your team, I don't hate that.
Either one of them is about as bad as it gets, really. As much as I like to gamble, you can't be betting on your team. So he did the unthinkable, but man, the ban was long enough. I feel like he went away from the game for a long time. Not went away. They kind of pushed him away for years and years, probably a couple of decades. Then he finally started to come back a little bit. I guess maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you started seeing him a little bit more. I feel like he was very apologetic, right?
No, he was, but he
admitted. Well,
when it first happened, he wasn't.
No. He fought it a lot. At the beginning.
I think he wanted back in. They say the commissioner at the time was a huge Pete Rose fan. It was just a different day and age back then. People were stickler for rules back then, and I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. I'm just not. I think sometimes we bend the rules too much nowadays, but that's the new world we live in, and within those rules, it's nothing. I know I joke about it all the time. There's no doubt in my mind that Shohei Ohtani was gambling. That's a cover-up, biggest cover-up ever. Whatever. It don't bother me, But what I hate about it is they cover it up for him, but they don't allow Pete back in. What he did was wrong. I'm not glad. I understand they were stickler for rules. I think we need a little bit more of that in today's society. Because I promise you now, there's guys going to be in the Hall of Fame that are playing right now that I guarantee you have made some kind of bet.
There's guys in the Hall of Fame right now that have cheated in multiple ways. Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of guys in the Hall of Fame right now that have gambled on sports.
No doubt.
I'm sure there's plenty of them in the Hall of Fame that took steroids.
Yep.
And let's be real. There's not more cheating in any other sport than baseball. There's a million ways to cheat, and they all do them all.
Yep.
Spitballs, substances hidden on the pitcher's glove and belt, corked bats, steroids.
Well,
there's so many different ways to cheat in baseball. You're not convincing me that a lot, not just a couple, a lot of players that are in the Hall of Fame have done one of those things that I just mentioned, if not multiple.
No doubt. I feel mixed about it. I'd heard that when it happened back then that Pete thought he was bigger in baseball. But to me, why he gets a little pass, not even a lot of a pass, and I'm not even sure if they did it right or did it wrong. I don't know. I like that he's back because I like Pete. But he did something for the game. He played harder than anybody else has ever played the game. I don't think anybody can argue that. There's nobody that played the game harder. They were more athletic. I think that's why people always kind of related with Pete Rose. He was kind of that white trash guy. You heard the thing ESPN did on him. He was from the other side of the tracks of Cincinnati. He was from the white trash side, the bowling alley side. You look at him, he didn't look super athletic.
I like bowling.
I do too. I'm white trash, I guess. But when you looked at him, you didn't see an athletic freak. And you know how I feel about that, Charlie. I feel like most of sports, that's what it is. Filled with athletic freaks. I just felt like you had a white boy that was a decent athlete, but got every single inch out of everything he did out of baseball. He got his tryout because his dad got him a tryout as a favor to him. Wasn't no big recruit. Didn't even really have a tryout. So I love that about him. I love the story of, how he played hard. I know the commissioner and everybody thought he was bigger in baseball. So, it's a double-edged sword. I just feel really good about him being in the Hall of Fame. I wish he could have seen it. Would that have been the right thing or the wrong thing? I don't know. I would like to have seen him see it. But at the end of the day, I'm glad he's there. First ballot, Charlie?
Absolutely first ballot. But he might not be because he's still got to get voted in. And you never know with them voters.
I
the
think
voters are sticklers, man.
Are they the players? Or are the writers?
Like writers and media.
Okay, I know football it's the players, right?
I don't think so.
I think they get a part of. I think, or is it the Heisman?
It should be former players and coaches, if you ask me.
I know he was.
Why the hell does some media, some reporter?
He was
get a vote.
He was a favorite amongst a lot of players back then. Black and white didn't always mix, and within the black community, within the black players in the MLB, Pete Rose, he was one of the early ones to really take up for him and really speak out for him. So within that community, I know he's a favorite. I know with other athletes, he's a favorite with some. So I think he'll be first ballot. I mean, I don't think nobody can argue he deserves to be there. But you also got kind of put on the back burner with all this. Shoeless Joe got reinstated back in baseball. He definitely cheated, right, Charlie?
After 105 years.
Yep. The Black Sox.
It was 1919.
Yep. They cheated.
The 1919, well, if you actually read into it a little bit, they cheated, but did Shoeless Joe Jackson actually cheat? Because he actually led that World Series in a bunch of different statistical categories.
He was that good. He could be
set a World Series record with 12 base hits. I mean, this was 1919, so I'm sure that
you don't even know if those stats are real.
Yeah, I'm sure that's been obliterated by now. But he did lead some categories in that World Series. So it says right here, his role in the scandal and exclusion from the Baseball Hall of Fame have been fiercely debated. So I have to read a little bit more into that, but I do think the team as a whole was definitely cheating. But 105 years it takes them, Anthony.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So going by the commissioner's statement, Shoeless Joe Jackson died in like 1950. Yeah. So why wouldn't his ban have been up in 1950? Took another 60-something, 65 years to get Shoeless Joe Jackson in.
There's a lot of evidence the mob was involved. Players didn't make as much money back then. Maybe
and the mob was huge.
Oh, and especially in Chicago. Maybe he had to do it. Maybe, or his family was going to end up dead. That was in 1919 in Chicago. Yes, the mob was a big deal in Chicago in 1919. So I can't judge him. I'm not there. But guess what, Joe? You're going to be first ballot Hall of Fame.
I hope they both get in. I hope they're both first ballot. But I'm telling you, Anthony,
they'd be haters.
These writers, the voters, whoever it is, baseball aficionados are sticklers to the rule. It's like golf.
But I think so that's where the things are changing. I think that generation's starting to die off. And I don't even hate it because I hate that they're that much sticklers, but I hate how not forgiving, but people just turn the other cheek in today's game because there's so much money involved and stuff like that. So to me, there's a middle ground there, and I don't know if we'll ever achieve it because I want to tell my kids there's rules. But back then, man, if you messed up, you messed up for life. And I really don't.
105 years is a little too long.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
A little too long.
I agree.
And I am not a fan of the way they did that to Pete Rose. Initially, the ban for life is, it's suitable. There's been a couple NBA players in the last year that have been banned for life.
I really think whatever it is, you know how I feel about the gambling part, what I think with the way gambling is within our game now, you got to put the fear of God in these players somehow because I already think it's there. Matter of fact, we'll get into another subject that'll lead right into it, but you got to put the fear of God in them, Charlie. You got to make sure that don't happen because that's a lot of wrong could happen there really quick. I think it's already happening, but I think that's why the NBA, when one does become public, I don't think they want none of them to become public, but when one does become public, the penalty's huge.
And rightfully so, but 40 years?
He got banned when there was player managers. He played and he managed.
I don't like it, and I don't like the fact that come on, you could have did it a year ago. He died 8 months ago. You could have did it a year ago and just let the man enjoy it, at least for a little bit. Come on. I don't like it. I like that they let him, that they're going to reinstate him, but I don't like that they wait until after he dies. I think that's bogus.
They should have given it to him when he was starting to get in bad health. But one quick question. Should we bring back the player manager?
There's been, wonder how many of their...
LeBron runs the team in the Lakers.
I want to say like Joe Torre maybe did that at some point.
Oh, yeah. It was popular back then, but today's game
or
it's
Lou
not.
Piniella.
You couldn't do it in football. Could you do it in basketball? Maybe basketball.
Well, there's been a couple in basketball. Bill Russell did it.
LeBron does it.
He might as well. Football.
It's too hard in football. Football is the hardest thing to coach. A lot of moving parts.
You could do it in baseball. I just don't know that anybody would ever do that again.
On the gambling note, did you see the news on Draymond Green or what people were making out of it?
I saw it.
I just have seen a little bit of it. My son and his friend showed me. I looked at it. I was like, wow, that's big. And then I kind of looked at it again before the show. They were down by 8, and Draymond was shouting out to after a timeout, he was shouting out to his team, you know the spread's 5.5. You know what they're doing. I think that's what they're. So at first I thought
he didn't say the word spread though. He said it's 5.5.
Well, that's spread.
That's I know, what it was, but he said it's 5.5. We know what they're doing, or I know what they're doing.
I think
that was it.
I think so.
No proof. There's no proof. You're saying he got fined
$50,000.
That's some bullshit.
Because I think the only argument he can make is it's about the officials, and it kind of sounds like to me that's probably what it was about. But that's the only argument he could make if it was about something else. So that's where the $50,000 fine came. Look, I don't mind the fine. I do not think you can allow – I love betting. And I think there's betting going on right now, and they're trying to fight it and trying to keep things, under wraps. But you cannot let those comments go. You got to put the fear of God in these people on the betting and gambling. That's about, I'm telling you, if that ever mixes, the public ever thinks it is mixing, Vegas will lose so much money. Vegas
I think
don't
you take that case to court and he gets off scot-free because he didn't say enough.
Yeah, but it's
5.5. We know what they're doing.
Well, he got the players. He got the players union, so they'll fight for his money back.
They should. And I'm not saying he. I don't know what.
I think he should
I'm
be
not
fine.
even going to assume what he was. We know he was talking about the spread. We know that because we're not stupid.
Yeah.
But
whether it's a comment,
it's 5.5. That's all he said.
So he's either making a comment to the officials that they're setting up the game, or he's telling his players we need to hit a three. So it's either one or the other. I think it's the officials. Hey, these officials are trying to cover this spread. So that's assuming the bigger issue, and I've heard somebody else make this argument. I think it's probably a valid argument. The bigger official, does Draymond really believe the officials are cheating like that?
Well, maybe it is the official thing. When I originally saw it the very first time, was that he was talking. I felt like he was saying that the other team was trying to cover the spread.
Okay.
And like we know what they're doing. They're just trying to win by 8 or whatever the spread was.
Well, it was 5.5, and that team was at by 8.
Or 5.5, whatever. I took it like he was just saying to his teammates, almost like in a jokingly way, like the other team's trying to make sure they cover. They know they're going to win the game, but they're also trying to cover the 5.5. Now, maybe he was talking about the refs, but that's how I took it initially. Was that it was like
we need to look at it some more.
The other team's trying to. They know they're going to win, but now they're trying to like stick it to us a little bit and make sure they cover.
Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong.
But my argument is, who knows what the hell he was talking about? Because he didn't say enough.
It can't be talked about, though. Not on the basketball court.
He didn't say enough.
It don't matter. It can't be.
He didn't even say the spread. He could have been 5.5. He could have been talking about his kid's shoe size.
Dude, it's 5. That was the point spread. That's what he was talking about. Listen, I'm not even saying, and this might be an ass move, but they know the rules about gambling in NBA. I don't even think it should be talked about. There's a fine line. There is a fine line. I think it's going on.
Do you think
but
players...
I think NBA is Vegas is trying to fight it. I really think they are hard, and they're tied together through money, promotion, advertising. So they're working together to try to hide it. There's certain shows I bet you can't say certain things or have to say certain. There's so much money that could be lost in this, and a game ruined if they do it. A game that's a league that's already struggling a little bit right now.
So here's my question: in the locker room, do you think players talk about? Let's assume they're not gambling. Okay. Let's assume the players in the locker room, they're not gambling. They're just talking. Do you think they say or know what the spread is? They're not gambling.
I do think. Okay, so here would be my take, and I don't know if I'm right. I would say they do, because if they didn't, Draymond wouldn't say that. To me, that was him saying to his boys, we know what's going on here. But I will be honest with you. I know the NBA is trying to really, come down on anybody they catch. I think they sweep a lot underneath the rug they don't want us to hear about. And we don't hear about a lot of them. You know how I feel about that. But I do not feel like it should even be talked about in the locker room. I do think it probably is right now because of...
Well, you can't stop what's talked about in the locker room.
That's if it's gambling, you can make that a rule. Like, that's forbidden.
Who's going to police the rule in the locker room?
Well, anybody. This is an area...
Who?
I don't know. Dude,
exactly.
you really got to be careful with this.
You don't have NBA executives in the locker room to be able to police it. The commissioner's not in the locker room.
Sure, there ain't nobody to police it. But if you get caught or somebody snitches and they have...
I'm just talking about, like, guys talk in the locker room. Do you think they know that they're favored by 15.5?
I'll tell you one that don't know it. I'll tell you what locker room don't talk about. It's the Kansas City Chiefs.
My point is, regardless whether they're gambling or not, it's such a big part of our culture now.
So you got to protect it.
I feel like they're definitely... So
because the two really don't go together. My bad.
Hold on. So here's my thing. Do you ever think the team is favored by 15 and they're in the locker room before the game and they're like, man, let's make sure we bust that ass by at least 20. Let's make sure we...
Talking about covering the spread or just...
Yeah, I mean, hey, Vegas has got us minus 15.5. Let's make sure we bust that ass by more than 15.
I just don't think you can go there. I don't think. I mean, I get it. I'm not
saying can you. I'm saying, do you think that's a conversation?
I think it is
not
right
by
now.
Guys that are gambling, just by competitive nature. Hey, guys, we are 8-point underdogs.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. But I think that's something they would like them not to do. It's a gray area because there's no
way to police that.
There isn't. I agree with that.
Not in the locker room.
I agree with that.
Now on the court, if you want to, obviously they are policing it.
Well, maybe they say in the locker room if you get talked, if you're.
So they need code words for the spread. Just come up with code words.
Let's just put the fear of God in them where they don't do it. Listen, I love gambling. I love sports. I always thought this was going to be. That's why they didn't have a college team, a pro team in Vegas for a long time. This has been a fear for a long time, and a lot of people are saying, "You asked for it. This is what you're getting."
Yeah, but unless the players are gambling or doing something wrong, then what does it matter if they're saying, man, we're favored by 15. Let's win by more than 15.
But we can't play.
It's just a conversation.
No, you're right. You're right. But I think anytime it turns in, and I could see that happening, but anytime it turns into gambling, or we don't want code words, like we got to be careful with it. I mean, when I say we, I just mean as a society.
They definitely need code words. If I was in the locker room, we'd be coming up with code words. But get the conversations out in the locker room, or we got to have code. We got to have code words on the.
But what about if you
can't say the spread's 5.5 on the sideline?
What about if you got a bet on the other team? Listen, when you make a bet, if I made a bet, I like to think I do think they cheat. I don't think it's like all the time, but I do think they cheat. I've seen it. Just a lot of things that line up. But when I make that bet, and this is what Vegas is worried about, this is what the NBA is worried about. I'd like to think I'm making a fair bet. There's not an advantage because if New York knows that spread, they're going to try to get some garbage points at the end to cover because they're trying to cover that spread. I'd like to think that it's a fair bet. But I'm telling you, dude, the public loses confidence in that. There will be a lot of – I'll tell you what, Charlie, I love betting sports games, and I think it goes on. But if I seen hard evidence that
We've already seen it.
I know, but I'm just saying, say I see it across
how much
the
you
board.
got to see?
I know, but you're right.
You sit here and say
you've
said it probably 10 times, 15 times over 35 episodes that we think there's cheating in sports.
I know, but at least maybe there's a hope in the back of my mind that it ain't as much as I think. But if it is, it just does something else for you that, hey, I know it's happening. You make a big bet, dude, or a decent, whatever a big bet is for you, you'd hate to say you lost because they never had a chance.
You bet on horse racing.
I know. You're right.
There's cheating all over that
Anywhere
game.
There's money in gambling, there's cheating, I promise.
Well, here's my thing. Back to Draymond for one quick second. If he is not gambling, if you don't have proof that he was gambling on that game, then I don't think he did nothing wrong. Maybe that's a hot take. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But him saying it's 5.5, we know what they're doing, to me, unless he's gambling and we have proof that he did something, they were down 8. What do you do when you're down 8?
They say they kept shooting threes.
Well, what do you do when you're down 8 with a couple minutes left? You
but
shoot threes and try to score points.
They say they passed up. I don't know. Listen, I'm not saying.
Am I wrong? When you're down 8, what are you trying to do in the last couple minutes?
I don't think
they shoot threes all game anyways. Definitely late in the game, down 8, they're going to be shooting threes. So the fact that they're like, oh, they were shooting threes. No shit, they're down 8 points trying to come back.
I don't like players talking about point spreads. I don't like it.
I think it would have been more egregious if they were up.
I get it. I have to look at it more. I do want to look at it more.
I mean, they're down and they're shooting threes trying to come back.
I agree with that. I mean, I think it's fair.
You can say they were just trying to cover the 5.5. No, hopefully they were trying to win the game still.
To me, I think it was geared. I know you say the other team, and that could be true. But I think
could be way off. That was just my initial thought.
Me too. I could be way off.
And maybe he was talking about if he's talking about the referees, that's a whole nother.
Do you think?
Do
you think that should be a fine at that point if it's referees?
If he's talking about the refs, well, now we got a different issue.
Okay, but here's the scary part. And this, I think, this goes for your point of view and my point of view, Charlie. I don't care if he's talking about the refs. I don't care if he's talking about the other team. When you look at it, whatever one it is, that makes it of his opinion and the way he was talking to his players, probably kind of what they believe too, the way he was talking, that he believes somebody is paying attention to that spread and making sure that it happens.
He was talking about somebody.
Yeah. So so within his team, Because he was talking to them and looking at them like, guys.
Oh, he was talking about
So
somebody.
that must mean the whole Warriors team, and I'm sure other teams too, feel like there's.
So did Draymond come out and say anything about this?
Nope.
Publicly?
Nope.
I
don't know that. No, I don't.
Just pleading the fifth?
I don't know that. I don't know.
Well, they're about to play again tonight.
Yeah, I think is he hurt or something? I know he didn't have or he had a warm up where everybody else had their uniforms. Maybe I'm wrong. I got to look more into it.
Well, that's an interesting conversation because to me, I just don't think there's enough evidence. They're taking a couple words and then pretty much assuming what he was talking about or who he was talking about because he didn't say who he was talking about and he technically didn't say the spread is 5.5.
Well, he's accusing somebody of cheating with that comment.
But technically, he just said that it's 5.5. He could have been talking about his kid. He could have been talking about his wiener size.
I ain't playing that shit.
I mean, it's 5.5 could mean a lot of things.
He's talking about the spread.
We know he is, but in the court of law, I don't think you can prove that by those comments.
I think if you put him on a jury and people listen to him and they really dug into the video, which I'm sure they are, but they're not going to make it public because it is talking about.
But you can't assume. You can't assume.
I know you can't, but they can go this is what I've learned about gambling. And anytime they don't want none of it to go public, so you're not going to see none of the people break it down. I think it even goes as far as they try to make sure these shows on ESPN because they're all tied in together. They all have DraftKings.
They've been talking about this all day.
I know, but I think they can only go so far with it because most of them are tied in with the sponsorships of these gambling places, man. It's kind of a tough area. It really is. I don't know the answers. Matter of fact, I think it's kind of a hard thing to police, but we got to find something because the two do not go together, and it would be a disaster if it's as bad as what I think it is. And who's to know? We're at the very beginning stages of it. We're going to see things grow. I definitely think you see the leagues pretty much threatening these players. If you gamble, you're out. Wasn't there an NFL player had to set out a whole season because of it?
Yeah, it was.
Somebody from Atlanta, wasn't it?
Yeah, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah,
I think it was Calvin Ridley.
So
yeah, and then there's been at least one or two NBA players over the last year that got banned for life.
Yeah, and it's happening more than that. That's the ones that have come out. Once it comes out, they really can't do a whole lot about it. What I've noticed, and I've told you this, and our other buddy, I feel like they sweep it underneath the rug. When it does, they want it to go away. They know time kind of makes things go away, and I've seen that a bunch.
Time makes everything go away because everybody's worried about right now, and they forget about big stories in a week.
And move on.
Move on to the next thing.
That's the old school people. They never forgot about nothing.
So let's move on to the next thing.
Yep, let's do it.
What do you think about Diddy, man?
Well, what you just told me, stuff I've heard.
2 days in, and the stories that I've heard are unbelievable.
He needed. He probably had a lot of sex in his life with very beautiful women
and boys.
Must have. I would say first it started out with beautiful women because of who he was and the money he had, the influence he had. And I guess when you have sex with that many beautiful women, I guess he gets bored, and I guess he has to take his sex game to the next level.
Get a hobby.
I hear
if you're
man.
bored.
I know, but
go play some pickleball or something.
He got a hobby.
He had a hobby, all right.
Freak nasty.
So his defense, pretty much, their only defense is that he's a freak, and he had these freaky ass parties with all this crazy. Yes, he did all this crazy stuff. Just everybody else was cool with it.
It might not be a bad defense. Though.
That's the only defense he's got.
If they got hard evidence that
they say the evidence is mounted.
Okay.
There's a lot of it, and it's pretty much he's dead to rights.
You can be a freak, and people can be freaky with you. That ain't nobody's business, really. As much as it's crazy, he's allowed to do that, and people are allowed to participate in that with him. Can they prove that he did wrongdoings to do it, or minors, or all that stuff that can make that is illegal?
I'd have to really dig into it to see what all the evidence is. But from everything that I've read, they say that evidence is stacked this high and he has no shot.
Let me ask you this. I agree from what I've heard too. You're right. Some long shot. Casey Anthony got off.
OJ got off.
If he was to get off, that hurts his career, right? Like his career is over. I would
I would like to say that, but man, just like we just said, move on to the next thing. If he got out, yeah, for a while.
It wouldn't surprise me in today's society,
everybody,
dude.
I feel like
People are too forgiving now. I'm a forgiving person. But, man, sometimes there's got to be penalties for what you do.
I mean, Casey Anthony, speaking of her, she's on like TikTok or something with tons of followers.
She's on X videos, too.
Is she?
I've seen her a few times on there.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Is Diddy on there too? He's probably got some on there too.
Yeah, his videos he didn't need the money.
So what I think this trial is very interesting. I think a lot more crazy shit's going to come out. There was a story that came out. I'm not even going to say it, but his ex-girlfriend, that Cassie girl, is like the main state's witness. And some of the stories that she's already told on the stand, go look them up.
Maybe.
They're foul.
Well, let me ask you. Here's the real question.
He's foul.
Here's the real question. Why does he even want to get out of trouble anyways? He's going to be in heaven. If he's that freaky, he's going to be in heaven.
Yeah,
I'm serious. He's going to be in heaven.
Man,
No, I'm just saying he's in prison. I mean, that's his, he's in there. I've never been to prison. A lot of freaky people, they say.
He'd be the catcher every time, though. He can't pitch anymore.
He don't have no problem with that.
You're probably
That's
right.
probably the next level. That's the next level. That's the next level.
He's getting bored again. He's got to take it to the next level
He'll
again.
probably be, he's an entrepreneur. He's a very good business guy. He's very savvy. He'll probably become the head whatever, the head pimp in there.
He's going to be the head something.
He's in heaven, dude. Why would
He's going to be the head catcher in there.
If I was a gay guy, it wouldn't even be scaring me to go to prison if I was a gay guy. Hell, that's everything you want in there.
Yeah, but they find out he was messing with little boys. They find out he really messed with Bieber like they say he did. They might do some nasty stuff. Bubba might get his ass in there.
He might
for
like
real.
that shit.
Yeah. They ain't going to like what they
Except
do.
you told me, dude. I wouldn't put much past him for the things you told me.
The one that she said today was unreal. I mean, think of like whatever is one of the craziest like things you could possibly do when you're, I don't know, having sex or like in a freaky situation, and just it's worse. It's crazier than that.
Oh, there's all kinds of videos of that kind of stuff. You just got to dig deep.
Yeah, but taking it to somebody else.
Yeah, there's crazy videos, dude.
I know.
There's people with
man.
animals and everything, dude.
So yeah, to stay tuned to the Diddy. Is there still court TV?
Judge Judy? Or,
No, remember, well, Judge Judy
what
wasn't.
was old girl? The blonde-headed woman. She was never lost a case as a prosecutor. Somebody killed her husband, and she became a lawyer. And she has a show. Blonde-headed woman. She's from the South.
Nancy Grace?
Yeah, I think
I didn't know that about her.
Her husband died, or like they were young. She was dating a guy, and he like just devastated her. She made a vow she was going to go to law school, I think, become a lawyer. She never lost a case as a prosecutor. They said she was the pet bull of prosecutors.
Nancy Grace?
Yeah, I think that's the story I heard. Now, I don't know if all that's exact right, but I've heard that story from a couple people. And then she got her own show. But if you listen to her, dude, she's a bulldog. She's a bulldog.
Well, Court TV had the O.J. Simpson trial on back in the day. I remember you could sit there.
My
and
grandma watched that every day.
You could
every
watch
day.
it.
My grandma knew everything about the case.
I didn't watch it every day because I was a kid, but I did watch some of it. I kind of got kicked off the whole
Greta. Greta, remember Greta?
Greta
Van said the lawyer TV personality.
For who?
I think
in the OJ.
Yeah, I think Greta was a prosecutor in the OJ trial. I think, and then she got her big show.
No, the prosecutor was
Nancy Grace. No, the perm
Marsha Clark.
Marsha Clark, yeah,
Marsha Clark and Chris Darden.
Did you watch the White Bronco that day?
Oh yeah,
I did too.
You know why you was watching it? Because you were watching the Knicks and the Rockets in the finals.
Okay, all right.
It happened. They cut into the NBA finals, and they actually had the OJ on the full screen, and they had like a little screen showing the Rockets and it was the NBA finals. I'll never forget that.
OJ,
yeah, hell yeah.
OJ,
everybody in the country was watching that.
OJ thought he was done. He went and got the dream team. That's what they called his lawyers. He had like the best lawyer team ever assembled.
And tell me why I watch every single documentary that's ever came out on that.
It was a big case.
There was a new one that came out just about 6 months ago. I watched it. It was pretty good too.
big case.
Chris Darden was in that one. He was actually, I don't know if he's been in any of the other ones, and he was in this one. So you got a little different perspective. Of course, he was pretty much blamed for that, for getting OJ to try that glove on, because that was his idea to get him to try that glove on.
That was a bad move.
It was a bad move. So
It's
but I've watched every documentary on that. So show the Diddy trial. If the Diddy trial is showing live anywhere, and I get any time off work, which probably will not happen for the next 8 months, I would actually watch the little bit of the Diddy trial, because it's. Now I might have to turn it off if it gets too. Could you imagine how uncomfortable that courtroom is with the conversations that are going on?
His mom's there. His kids have been there supporting. I would just tell my kids, like, put earphones on their line.
I would tell whoever's got my kids that they better not let them come to
No doubt.
that.
It's going to get crazy in here.
How old is his kids?
I don't know. But I will tell you this. If Casey Anthony can get off, I give him a puncher's chance. I've never seen somebody look more guilty than her.
OJ and her.
Listen,
probably the
OJ's
two
is
biggest
bad,
ones.
but man, I think Casey Anthony's, she was guilty.
Yeah, but they never found the body.
Yeah, that's why she got off.
I know. I'm just saying. I know she did it, but OJ's blood was all over the place. Both of Nicole's and the Goldman guys' blood was in the Bronco and at his house, and his blood. I don't think there was any more blatant one than OJ. But you're right. Casey Anthony was pretty. That was pretty blatant too, and I'm sure there's been some more, but.
I might not know how bad.
I don't think Diddy's getting off.
I might not know how bad the OJ looked guilty. Like, I knew that he looked guilty, but maybe I didn't follow it like you did. My grandma did every day, but maybe I didn't know all that blood was there.
I was. I want to say I was in 8th grade when.
Yep, that's exactly what grade we were in.
8th grade.
That's exactly
when
what
the
grade.
Trial was going on.
They said innocent. We were at school.
8th grade.
Yeah.
I wanted to try to act cool around that time. I always told my dad, he's innocent. He's innocent. I was trying to go along with.
I was just happy we got to watch.
He was guilty as hell.
I guess I didn't even realize how much of a kind of a racial divide it was.
It was big.
No, it was, but I didn't realize it because I remember being happy we didn't have to do schoolwork. We were just going to get to watch it on then. And then I realized that, like, once it happened, like, there was a big, I just realized it at that point. I was like, damn, I was just glad we didn't have to do schoolwork.
You're right. Anytime they rolled out the
TV,
the cart with the
no doubt
tube TV on the top of it,
of course,
that was always a good day.
Of course, I like history.
Rolls that in there.
Hey, of course, I like history anyways. But you're right. There is no better feeling than when you're sitting at school, you're going to go into class you don't like, and the TV starts rolling out.
You knew it was going to be something good. Even if it wasn't great.
You could sleep.
Yeah, even if it wasn't great.
The lights were off.
The lights were off.
Yeah,
that was good times.
Yeah, no doubt. When the TV come out, dude, it was like, yes.
So we'll try to keep you updated as the Diddy trial moves along. I'll be keeping an eye on the stories because I'm sure they're just going to get more outlandish and more uncomfortable to talk about.
How do kids concentrate on school with their cell phones, texting their friends? They say that, like, in high school they let them do that. So I'm like, dude, that's all I'd be doing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm sure they take advantage of it as much as they can.
If you're 16 years old, 17 years old, you're sitting in class, are you not texting or scrolling on your phone like every chance you get?
I guarantee it. Googling and trying to cheat and everything.
Come on.
You got all the answers right there in your pocket.
Yep.
It is pretty wild. Actually, I think I seen something today about maybe here local. Did JCPS come up with something saying they're banning the cell phones from being on or something like that? I seen a couple of parents that were pissed off about it today.
Yeah, they should. I don't know if they will, but, they definitely should.
Should what? Ban them?
I don't know. Just do something. I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like the cell phones being out of school. I don't. I guess you got to take them to school because of the day and age we live in.
That's the only thing.
But
it's
like,
just
if you get
one thing that you
don't
even want to talk about.
Like, if you got an emergency, then you need to go in front of a teacher to the office and operate your phone. You don't got to show them, but you got to operate it.
Yeah, but what happened if something really crazy goes
down?
Well,
at that point, you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to do it at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like them having them. I don't even like my kids having the damn phones. If it was up to me, I'd throw them right in the garbage.
You know what my daughter told me? I said, y'all allowed to text in class? She said, yeah. She said, Dad, you know why the main reason they let us text in class? She says, because the teachers want their phones. She says, if we didn't have our phones and the teacher was on their phones, though, they would say something.
All right. NBA playoffs. Well, before we get to that, the NBA draft lottery was the other night, and the Dallas Mavericks, get the number one pick. I think they only had like a 2% chance. They were one of they were one of the lowest chances. Actually, I think them and the Spurs both had two of the lowest chances, and they both got the 1 and the 2 pick. I was actually cheering for San Antonio to get it. San Antonio got Wemby 2 years ago. They got the point guard, what's his name? Castle.
Yeah.
Last year, probably the best player in that draft.
He's going to be a rookie. It was a weak draft, but he will get rookie of the year.
And then Cooper Flagg, they could have had the best player in the draft for 3 straight years. So I was kind of cheering for San Antonio to get it, but the Mavs end up with it. And then now, like you said, everybody's yelling conspiracy. Everybody's there. I've heard all kinds of different angles.
Did Silver, did he go to him and say, hey, you trade Luka to L.A.?
That was the angle.
Okay, you trade him to L.A., we'll take care of you come NBA draft day. That gets Luka in L.A. in a big market, and that gets the young Cooper Flagg on a team. Probably what
would you take Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg over Luka for the next 7 years?
Oh yeah, I would, no doubt. Listen, Luka's good. I like Luka a lot, but I don't like him as an athlete. I think he's a really good offensive player, but I'll take Cooper Flagg over Luka. And that's a gamble. I know it's a gamble. I know that he's not a proven item, but I really like Cooper. He's a young player.
Luka, very out of shape this year. Defense sucks, but I'm gonna go on record right now. Luka, this offseason, is going to get himself in a little bit of shape. He's going to come back next year a little bit more in shape. I'm not going to say he's going to be shredded because he won't
This is the thing.
Hold on. He will come back next year, and he will be the MVP next year. I'm going on record right now. Luka will be the MVP next year. He better step his defense up, but I do think that he's going to take a little bit of this to heart. He's been getting it from left and right on the being out of shape and not playing defense. The Lakers fold in the playoffs early. I think he comes back with a vengeance, and I think he gets the MVP next year.
I can see it. The thing about Luka is naturally not just some freak. He's a freak in a sense. He's a good basketball player. He has good size, but he's just not that shredded, super athletic guy.
None of them European guys are.
Well,
really, if you think about it, none of them are.
A lot of them are white guys. Charlie, let's just be honest about
Petrovic back in the day might have been the most athletic one.
Look,
a lot of them are guys like that. Sabonis, remember Arvydas Sabonis? He was a bad motherfucker, but he was just like a Luka or so. He was just a big oafy guy, but he could play ball.
No, yeah. You hear people say, "Oh, that guy needs to get in shape. He just ain't working." He's probably doing the same stuff the other guys are. It's just the other guys can get away with it because they got the genetics to get away with it. It's just, but Luka might have hand-eye coordination genetic that's out of this world. Genetics have a lot to do with a lot of things. I promise you they do.
So Cooper Flagg is going to be a Dallas Maverick. I don't like it. Dallas is not exciting to me. I would have rather seen him in San Antonio or even Philly. I don't like the 76ers at all, but I would have rather seen him in Philly. You like him at the Mavs?
They got Anthony Davis, PJ Washington, Kyrie. I like him down there.
It's a good start for him. Yeah, Cooper Flagg. Is anybody else interesting in this? Who's in these top couple?
Number 2, you got the Dylan Harper kid. He's out of Rutgers. You got Ace Bailey.
Rutgers got 2 guys in the top 5 or 6.
And they spent money on NIL, and they didn't produce nothing.
No, but they got 2 guys in the top 5 or 10.
Mm-hmm. Number 5, a lot of people got the Jazz taking that point guard from Texas, Trey. I forget his last name. I think it's a top-heavy draft.
It's all about Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, it is.
This draft is all about Cooper Flagg.
The Mavs hit the lottery, man. Dallas really just got very lucky. A 2% chance, and I think the kid's the truth.
Oh, he's definitely the truth.
Plays defense. That's what he said. He wanted to build his team with defense, and I think Flagg play. To me, that's what's so impressive about him. All of his offense skills, his abilities, but he's a defensive player, and you just don't get You get some of them big offensive players, they don't put that energy in the defense.
And I saw today that he did his measurements and everything for the combine. They said he grew another inch and gained 15 pounds in the last
The
year.
guy's he's a problem.
Said he's like 6'7", little over 6'7", barefoot.
I'm gonna say this, and this is over Wemby. I'm gonna say in 3 years he's the best player in the NBA.
Best player in the league?
Yes, I think he's that. I do, Charlie.
I don't know about that.
I think he can put on weight. I think he looks like he can carry weight.
When's the last time
he reclassified? I think he was just supposed to be a senior this year.
When's the last time in the NBA the best player in the NBA has been a white boy?
The Joker.
Yeah, I guess you could argue right now, huh?
He had 2 MVPs in a row. He ain't going to get it this year, SGA is, but he's right there putting up his numbers. 2 years of MVP.
All right, American white boy. Never.
Larry Bird?
Larry Bird, maybe.
Was he better than Johnson at the time? I wasn't a lot. Like, I didn't follow NBA.
That's probably the only one you could even argue, isn't it?
Pistol Pete. A lot of people say Pistol Pete.
It's been a long time.
I know,
We're going back to the Shoeless Joe era now.
Magic, Magic always talks about Pistol Pete, how he's underrated and stuff like that. He said that's who he grew up watching.
All right, so we're sitting here watching this game 5. Knicks are up 3-1. Boston is rolling. Without Jason Tatum, they are up almost 20 with
I'm going to say it's almost over. Not quite.
But I will say this, Anthony, they have been up 20. They're down 3-1, and they have been up 20 in every single game. Did you know that?
I've heard that. Yeah.
They have been up 20 in every game, and they're down 3-1. So I'm not by any means saying this game's over, because it is not over.
10 minutes to go. Another couple minutes, they hold that lead. It'd be hard to lose.
I figured the Celtics would figure out a way to pull this game out. It's at home, coming off of
Where's the last 2 games
Tatum.
at?
Well, Boston's the 1 seed, so it should be. It's probably Knicks. They're probably going back to the Knicks next game,
and then they would end in Boston if
and
they
then
could
back
force
to
it.
Boston. Yeah.
Knicks need to close it out next game if they lose this.
I think it'd be tough for the Celtics to win 3 in a row without Tatum. Tatum went down. He already had surgery, torn Achilles.
Yeah.
That's about as bad as they get. ACL used to be the thing back in the day you didn't want, but I feel like the Achilles is the one that people have come back. But
maybe they're a better team with Tatum. Not that he's not talented, but maybe they're more of a team. I don't think they are, but
I think their contracts, the way their contracts line up, I think they're going to probably lose a handful of players at the end of this year, anyways. The Celtics, so maybe this makes it a little bit easier for them to kind of. I don't know if they're going to do a complete reset, because I wouldn't say that, but I do think they got some players on contracts that they're probably not going to be able to re-sign.
Sure.
Going to be some turnover next year on the roster, and maybe this is maybe a little easier way for them to to get into that. Tatum, he's going to be out for a while. I don't know what the recovery time is. It's got to be close to a year, though, right? He'll probably miss the whole year next year, won't he?
I'll sign
maybe
off.
be ready by the playoffs. I don't know.
I'll sign off on him if I was his doctor. I'll sign off on anything.
Yeah, my son's doctor won't sign off on him right now.
Just give me the paperwork.
My pick before the playoffs started, I had the Knicks going to the finals. I didn't think that was a
good
pick. I was picking with my heart. I say that. I don't even like the Knicks.
They were a good team, but yeah, Boston and Cleveland were the 2 favorites in the East.
Cleveland's out.
Yeah.
Cleveland got stomped 4-1, got embarrassed by the Pacers.
Indiana could be a problem.
Hey, the Pacers play fast and exciting basketball. I will say that. They get up and down the court. They try to wear you out, and they wore the Cavs out.
Does Rick Smith and Reggie Miller still play for them?
I loved those teams.
Reggie,
Antonio Daniels,
Rick Smith,
Man, they had some good ones. That was a gritty ass team.
They had Wukash. He wasn't no star. They ain't no star.
So the Knicks, if they don't close it out tonight, will be looking at a game 6 back in New York. And you're right, they need to close that out. I think if Boston can win tonight and then somehow steal that game 6 back in New York, it might just be bad mojo and momentum rolling for Boston, and maybe they do end up getting it done. So That game 6 is crucial for the Knicks. They better get it done in front of their home crowd. Cavs already out.
One of the best series of this playoffs has been the OKC Denver series.
Yep, 3-2. OKC won last night. It was game 5, tied up 2-2, and OKC won last night. So we're looking at a game 6 back in Denver tomorrow at 8:30. That has probably been the best series so far. Most exciting one to watch.
Probably two of the better teams, too.
But, man, the Nuggets are outmanned. They only play like 6 guys.
They got the Joker.
They got the Joker and they got Jamal Murray, but they're only playing 6. The Thunder are tough to handle. I actually am kind of cheering for the Nuggets, even though I like Shea and I like this young Thunder's team. It's not even that I don't like them. Maybe I'm not cheering for the Nuggets. I'm just cheering. Maybe I'm cheering for a game 7.
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of what I'm cheering for, is just to see a game 7. None of these other series look like they're going to get to a game 7. So I think that's probably just what I'm looking for. Minnesota leads Golden State 3-1. Curry's been out the last couple games. You know they're not going to win without him. They can't win without Curry. So, and then Draymond's betting on the game or whatever he's doing. I feel like the Thunder and the Nuggets is the one. I'll be watching tomorrow.
The Joker had like 2 45-point games this series. Other night he had 45 points, I think, 15 rebounds.
Oh, he's hard to handle.
And they key on him. Like, they literally have been keying on him because they know that's one of the few ways that they can beat him.
You can't do nothing with it. Not only did he have like 45 points, he got like almost 20 rebounds to go with those 45 points.
You know why I love him? Because you see pictures of him as a kid, and you see all these athletic freaks out there. And he's definitely a kid that struggled with when he was a kid. And he still struggles with it, but he's a problem. He's a really good basketball player. He's not he's athletic for his size, but
Jalen Brunson just rolled his ankle.
I don't like looking at those, Charlie. Don't look at it. I don't look at those. I got bad angle.
That angle didn't look as bad. That first angle looked really bad. That second angle didn't look as bad. But that is not – oh, he's still out there. I was going to say that is not good news for the Knicks at all because he is a killer. You've been watching him?
Yeah.
Dude, he takes over.
He's
In
good.
the last like 3 to 4 minutes, he don't even pass the ball.
He's
He
good.
is like, look, I am taking over. We're going to win or lose with my decisions. He might not shoot it every time, but the play goes through him in the last 4 to 5 minutes. Every single play goes through him. He wants the ball, and like I said, they're going to win or lose according to what he does.
He's good. He's good. I tell you, another guy that's good, Aaron Judge. He's on fire right now. I know you're not a big Yankees
Aaron
fan.
Judge, we go straight from the New York Knicks to the New York Yankees. I cheer for the Knicks a little bit, but I don't cheer for no Yankees. I do like Aaron Judge.
We're looking like we're probably 30% through the season. Right now, he's batting .412.
That's unreal.
For a power hitter, it is, especially.
For anybody these days.
Yeah.
I bet you if you look at the league leaders, I bet you there's, and I don't even know this. I'm really just taking a shot in the dark, but I feel like the amount of players that hit over 300 these days has went way down.
Sure, they got all the stats. They know where hitters can't hit.
Well, and all they want to do is launch angle and hit home runs.
Yep.
Hit home runs or strike out.
Probably a combination of both of what me and you just talked about. They have all this information now. They know we're not. It ain't just a scout report no more. It's a whole computer system that tells where this guy likes it, where he don't like it.
I don't
And
think anybody's batted 400 in a long, long time.
Tony Gwynn was the one. Oh, Ted Williams was the only one to do it, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, and I think Tony Gwynn got really close a couple times.
I think you need, I want to say it's about 100 games for it to count, though. So you got.
Well, if Judge quit right now, he's at 165 games.
No, they ain't played 100.
I thought that's what I
No,
looked
100.
at.
The whole season's 162 games.
I'm stupid. I don't know.
162
That's at
at-bats.
bats. That's at
Yeah,
bats. That's
162
at
at-bats.
bats. Yeah, that's at bats. Yeah.
No, I think you need like 100, somewhere around 100 games for it to
Yeah.
for it to count as a record.
If he's still batting .412
We just
by the time,
wrap it up for the season.
dude, it's like one of the great records. It really is.
I hate the Yankees, but I do kind of like Aaron Judge, and I just like baseball, so I think that is super cool.
I love that he has a hitting coach that everybody talks shit about, but he sticks with him. I'm not saying the guy's right or wrong from a hitting coach standpoint, but in the baseball world, everybody, there's people that agree with the don't, but there's more that don't because there's so many different hitting styles.
You
but
can
I love,
teach. You can
I
teach.
love that. I love that he teach. But I love that he sticks with him. I know what you're gonna say.
You can teach Aaron Judge to do what he's doing.
Yeah, but
because Aaron Judge is good enough.
There's a lot of people that hit like that, and they act like they don't hit like that.
Yeah,
if you break them down.
Yeah, because they're good enough to overcome things.
I don't think
flaws in the swing.
there's a lot of very high level hitters that hit like that, but they say they don't. It's like Chipper Jones used to say he always swung down on the ball. There's a bunch of them that say that. Oh, knob to the down. They don't actually do that. Oh, they actually kind of do. The guy has a good argument, but that ain't my point. Is that he sticks with him. He's just a hole in the wall guy, and Aaron Judge sticks with him. And they say Aaron Judge puts a lot of work into his hitting. They said he really does all the things you're supposed to do. He gets to the games early. He really works on it. So. Kudos to him. Our boy Trey Hendrickson, Cincinnati Bengals defensive lineman, has had 3 or 4 great years in a row with Cincinnati. They're in contract negotiations. They're not going good. Trey, you're not a wide receiver, brother.
You're stupid.
You're not an offensive player.
You're just bouncing around, ain't you?
Yeah,
just bouncing the ball around.
Trying.
We going to golf next?
I'm trying to hit the tippets, man. Trying to hit the tippets.
They're stupid for that. The Bengals are dumb for that. That guy is a top, 5 to 10 defensive player in the league.
He ain't on offense, so
they're stupid.
I'm with you.
Offense wasn't their problem last year.
I'm with you.
Their defense was their problem, and now they're going to let their best defensive player go. Not just their best defensive player, a top 10 defensive player in the NFL. The Bengals are stupid. They're going to give up 40 points again next year. And they're going to be relying on those receivers and Joey B to score 45.
I'm not them. I'm not in their money room. I'd have to look at things really closely. So I don't want to say I don't like the idea of him leaving, but it is a business, and you got X amount of dollars. But I didn't like the idea of putting that big of money into a second receiver either. So we'll just see how it works out. But supposedly he said he's not playing without a contract.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, I get it.
I really don't. Bring his ass to Miami.
You have to pay him.
Pay him. Let's go.
You only got so much. You only got so
much.
It
ain't my money. I know,
but
shit. Pay him.
It ain't about coming up with the money. Everybody has a salary cap, so it takes it away from y'all's budget. Is it worth that to somebody? And that's the question. That's the question with any NFL
top
team.
10 player in the NFL. Yeah, he's worth it.
All right,
I think he's worth it.
He's good. I agree.
Somebody will snatch him up.
Yeah, I know you say he's top 10. I don't hate that, but
you don't think so?
I'm not saying he's not. I don't know.
He might be top 5.
Oh shit, Charlie's going top 5.
Dude, seriously,
I love it.
The dude's a beast.
He is. There's some other beasts out there too. NFL.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 of them. Shit, I think he's a top guy. I think your boy T. Higgins. I've said it multiple times.
Yeah, but he ain't no top 5 guy.
Bullshit.
He's good.
Bullshit. Name 5 receivers is better.
Maybe a receiver, but you said top 5 in the NFL.
No.
Oh, you're talking about at that position.
For him, I'm talking position. For Hendrickson, I'm talking defensive player.
I got a signed jersey from him. Me and Rex brought it at the thing. Got a little
mystery bag. Get that framed.
Yeah, got a mystery bag, and we got it. The lady kind of winked at it. She says there's premium ones. He was one of the premium ones. It was like a mystery deal. You paid like $100, and she kind of looked and kind of nodded her head. I said, grab that one, Rex. He said, well, Dad, I could have got the Burrow. I said, if she knew where the Hendrickson was, she knew where the Burrow was, too. Burrow went to her friend. Just be happy she gave us the nod on one.
That's pretty cool. Get that thing framed up.
He was tore up. He said, Dad, we could have got Chase. There was like probably 30 or 40 of them. They were mystery, and you paid $100. He said, Dad, I like Hendrickson a lot, but, man, we could have got Burrow or Chase. And I had to explain that to him. I said, if she knew where that one was, she knew where they all were, bud.
Shit, that's still a good one, though.
No, I loved it. And Rex did, too. That was a good one. That was a really good one.
All right, couple other things while we're just bouncing around. Let's just bounce over to Derrick Henry. Got him a deal today. Yeah. I think either today or late last night. 2-year deal worth what, like 30?
Yeah.
30 mil, 15 million a year for a running back. I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
I feel like they usually get like 4 or 5. He's getting big money or has the money went up for the running backs? Because I swear they were not getting like 10 million a year. He's getting 15 million for 2 years.
I don't know if you heard about it, but they had like a group text message amongst like a lot of the big running backs in the league, and it was just they were throwing around ideas to make the running back position valuable again. And They kind of done that. The running back kind of got some credit the last year or so. Maybe the running backs they're kind of working together because they want to bring their value up, because running backs were starting to become the most replaceable position in the NFL. It was almost like that old Denver Broncos. You give me a good offensive line, there's a lot of guys that can run through that hole. Now, there's a few special ones, the Saquons, the Derrick Henrys. Listen, right on the surface, Derrick Henry's good. Once again, I'm not them, but I know Baltimore does a really good job with their GM and everything they're doing on that end. So I'm not going to question Baltimore as far as what they're doing. But, yeah, for me to like it or not to like it, I just have to look at their salaries and look at their caps and all that, because all that's important.
They've only had him for, 1 year?
Yep.
They had to re-sign him.
Well, maybe. Depends.
Dude, he fit really good.
He did. I agree.
He fit almost perfectly
agree.
into that offense
I agree.
with Lamar. If you're just going to get him for 1 year and then let him go, you're an idiot, because he's right there still in this prime. Maybe just very slightly on the decline of it, right there past his prime. But he's still got, I'd say, at least a 3-year window, 4-year window where he can still be really good, and another year or two where he can still be a top guy.
No
so
doubt.
I think if they would have just kind of tested him out for 1 year and then let him go, that would have been goofy. It's him and Saquon right now. There's no question about it. They've been the best 2 running backs for the last couple years.
Bijan will be back. I like them too.
Look, I'm not a Ravens fan by any means, but I feel like he fit in that offense almost perfect.
I think good running backs need to be on good teams, though. When you have a really good running back on a bad team, I just don't think it. When they can just
You
kind
can
of
say that about every position.
I know you're right. You're right.
Shit.
I do know.
Everybody wants to be on a good team.
I think if NFL teams
Look at the quarterback.
I think
Quarterback needs a good team.
even if college teams, like when Penn State did it to your boy out Boise State, when you want to just shut down the running game and that's really all they got, I think it's easier to shut that down than just shut down a passing game. I was glad Saquon went to Philly just for Saquon's sake. As good as he was, he wouldn't have had that same year, and he's always been that player. He just finally got the team that was balanced. He had a good offensive line. He could showcase what he had. It's a lot easier when things ain't all about you and everything ain't being keyed on you when you have a bunch of good teammates. So,
all right, last little note that I got. The Trailblazers, they're for sale. You want to buy them?
got a lot of really good young players.
I got a couple dollars on it.
Yeah.
You want to move to Portland?
Yeah. You think they're taking offers?
They take American Express?
IOUs? Like, I'll buy them this year. Maybe they'll go up and buy you next year, and I'll get them paid back.
I'm down for buying the
if they-
Trailblazers. I got a couple buddies that have probably put up on it.
I can write some bad checks.
Wonder how much they want for the Blazers.
Probably a lot.
$5 billion.
I can write
$4 billion.
I can write a check.
I feel like these last few sales they've been about $3 million, but they always just go up.
That's the NFL. NFL teams are worth more, but the NBA's nice and bad. I can write a check. I don't know if it'll cash, but I can write the check.
I bet you it's $4
They got a lot of good young players. Them and
$4 billion.
I think them in Houston have a lot of good young players. They got Donovan Cleangton. That's the one of 10 we pulled. So I've read a lot of really good things about his rookie year. That's a good thing. I know they got that Sheldon Sharp. So,
Shaden Sharp.
Shaden Sharp,
he's
yeah.
good too.
They got some good young talent. Them and Houston are two of the teams they're talking about with Milwaukee trading, trying to get it because they got a kind of an abundance of young talent.
Trying to see if they've showed a price that they're trying to sell it for.
Charlie, you thinking about buying it?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
I am. You don't want in on it?
Why the hell are we doing Blitz the Bookie, dude? Well, if you got that kind of money, let's just go do some big stuff.
I mean, I got a few dollars on it. We're gonna have to get a couple other people to get involved, but
I got you.
I'm saying I got a couple dollars on it. $4 to $5 billion, dude. That ain't shit.
I got $5.
We got that right. Current valuation 3.5 to 3.65. The sale potentially will reach $4 to $5 billion.
That's crazy.
I mean,
come on, who got that kind of money?
We probably just need what, maybe 4 or 5 people.
I wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't buy the Trailblazers. They do got some good young players, though. I guess that matters, right? Do you think it's more about the facility and the brand, just being the NBA, or do you think it brings your value up when you got certain players? Like, say you're kind of a team that's getting like Milwaukee. Do they go down in value a little bit because they're getting older?
No, because you can't be buying them for what they are right now. You're buying them for the potential.
Well, yeah, and
I think
you can
feel
still
like
make money with a bad team.
These prices are just going up and up every single time. Whatever the last sale is, I'm sure it was probably 3 to 3.5. Now it's 4 to 5. The next team, whoever it is, a year or two down the road, it'll be 5 or 6.
I do think it hits a wall. I really do think it will. I mean, of course it got to, but I do, and I've talked to you about this, Shirley. I do think it'll come a point where Americans, I don't know when it happens. We might not ever see it, but at some point that people are going to have enough of these pro athletes making as much money as they do, and the market's going to call for the prices to go down. I do think eventually that whether it's the product doing it to itself, the players just being money hungry, whatever it is, I think after a while,
the players being money hungry.
Well,
what about the owners?
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean they're working in a business in an industry that brings in shitloads of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So the money that they're making, it's huge, but it's not huge compared to the money that they bring in.
Yeah, it's both ways, and they got a union, so that they get a big part of it.
They wouldn't be getting paid that money if they weren't making it.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree. I agree with that.
So
I agree, but it is their business. But I'm with you. I think everything you said is 100% correct.
All right, well, reset on the NBA playoffs. You sticking with what you had before? You had Celtics and Thunder. I had Knicks and Thunder.
I'm stubborn, dog.
You sticking with it?
I think that
Celtics are up by 20 something, still up by 20 with 5 minutes left. They're going to pull this out. They're going to force a game 6. You sticking with them?
I got to. I'm stubborn.
I'm going to stick with the Knicks, even though it does worry me that this is the fifth game in a row that the Celtics have had a 20-point lead. You could almost say they're dominating this. Can you be down 3-1 and say I've dominated the series?
I think the NBA leads just disappear or come so quick. I was looking at the Denver game the other night, 2-2. Denver led most of that game. Not by no 20, but they were up by like 10 points most of the game.
How can you be up 20 for 4 straight games and be down 3-1? That's got to be a record.
So either New York's really good at coming back or Boston gets tired and fatigued, or I don't know.
So, yeah, I'm going to stick with the Knicks.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Knicks win, but yeah, I picked Boston at Oklahoma. I'm not really tied to no team until Cooper Flagg gets there.
Well, Golden State tonight, we'll be watching to see if Draymond's got anything to say.
Yeah.
See if he mouths anything tonight.
He did
50 grand?
He ain't going to say no. That money shuts him up.
50 grand ain't shit, though.
Yeah, but it shuts him up. It's whatever it is, you're not going to hear much about it. They're going to make it go away, dude. I've watched this game. I know what they do. Nobody wants this to go no more public. The NBA don't want it. Vegas don't want it. Draymond don't want it. It's going to go away.
All right, Anthony. The Preakness.
The Preakness.
The Preakness, which we should be super excited about. We should be looking for our second leg of our possible triple crown. It's not going to happen. Sovereignty's not running. I heard the story early last week that there was, rumblings that he might not run. I think we even mentioned that last week on Monday.
Look, it's been talked about for years.
Bullshit. It's bullshit.
I agree.
It's bullshit.
I agree.
It's bullshit.
Especially when you're worth as much as Godolphin's worth. I understand if it was mine or your horse, and we were truly like, we wanted, the horse to run its best races because we needed the value to be high when we sold him for stud. These people are the old princes of Dubai. They turn the knob whenever they lose money. They have stupid money. They have throwaway money. They're multi-freaking crazy billionaires. They are good horsemen from everything I've read. They're good. When they come in, they pick out their own horses. They go with the trainers. They do everything right. They got this wrong, Charlie.
They got a strike from me.
They got this wrong.
They get a big strike from me. I don't like it at all. I've heard... Oh, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's too fast, but that's why.
Okay,
it's the
but
triple
we've been
crown.
doing that forever.
I know and that's why it's the Triple Crown.
And yeah,
do it because you love the sport. I don't know.
I did hear that the Preakness said that they would be willing to move back to. I think they might have said Memorial Day weekend, which would push it to what 4 weeks?
Yep.
No, it's not Memorial Day next weekend,
Yeah.
so it'd be 3 weeks.
An extra week.
It'd be 3 weeks, But Belmont said no. They weren't moving theirs. So
I like what you said, what you told me that, just go ahead and move theirs.
just do it.
Yeah.
Put the pressure on Belmont, because at that point, Preakness moves back a week to Memorial Day weekend. That would give him 3 weeks. But then you'd only have 2 weeks before the Belmont, because usually between the Preakness and the Belmont is 3 weeks.
They need more time. The Belmont's a mile and a half. I like it just the way it is. Don't change it. It is.
I agree. Don't change it.
It was one group. If you change it, the Triple Crown's never the same. And the award is different. That's what's so hard. You got to win 3 races in 5 weeks.
What are they saying? It's too soon. It's too soon to run horseback. Okay, well, we've done this for 151 years.
Training's a little different now, what they think of them.
It should be better.
Yeah, but if they want to make the horses stronger, that's what they need to do. They weaken these horses by not running them. They weaken the breed. And that's part of the problem we have as American breeders. But listen.
I just think if you're not seeing like a major number in horses getting injured on a 2-week turnaround, then why are we talking about this? If there's numbers to back it, if there's stats to back it that, hey, when we run a horse on 2 weeks, the percentage goes up of injuries or whatever it is, then yeah, I think we could have this conversation. But I've never heard that there's any stats to back this up. Have you?
No.
It's just, it's too soon. Well,
2 weeks is fast, but guess what? That's part of you get a break after that before you make your summer run. Not unless you're going for the Triple Crown, you run on one or the other if you're one of the bigger horses. And then you get a little break and you get ready for what I think is the second biggest 3-year-old race there is, which is the Travers. They call that the Midsummer Derby, but it's not a part of the Triple.
They don't want to do 2 weeks, but they'll let Dwayne Lucas run his horse 17 times in 3 months.
Dwayne, that's how he runs, son. He's old school.
I'm just saying, to me, there needs to be some numbers to back up the argument that it's too soon. If trainers and stuff say it's too soon, I mean, maybe it's too soon.
They're just not at their peak. They're saying the horse is not at their peak.
But you're only doing it once.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You're only doing it this one time.
You owe it to horse racing.
You don't have to continue to do every 2 weeks. You're only doing it once, and you're only doing it if you're the damn Kentucky Derby winner.
And you're one of the richest people in horse racing, maybe the richest. Why are you, if you really, I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like it. But I will say this. I know you said the starting gate didn't open at you had read the starting gate
twice this week.
So I know the Baltimore
at Preakness, at Pimlico.
The stadium committee's got a hold of it. Buy them a new starting gate. That's the start, Baltimore. The Baltimore stadium.
Do it before Saturday.
Yeah, get them a new starting gate, man. They're not. I mean, the big scheme of things, you're making all this investment anyways. You're going to have to buy one. I'm sure there's a starting gate you can buy. Bring somebody in and redo the one. I don't know, but anyhow. That's not good when your place is already struggling. But like I said, the Ravens Stadium Committee did get a hold of it. They say they do a great job, so we shall see. It's a great race, though, if you're a horse racing fan. Now, for the average fan that don't watch it before the big events, not having sovereignty, it's kind of tough. But you have journalism coming back. You could make the argument maybe he ran a better race than sovereignty. Maybe he didn't. He's the 8-5 morning line favorite. You got River Thames. He's 9-2. He was second in the Fountain of Youth and barely lost the sovereignty and got checked early in the race, and somebody went up and pressed him. So he maybe ran a better race than sovereignty in that race. And then he came back in the Bluegrass and ran a very close third. He was right there with both horses. So he's a player. Sandman's coming back from the Derby at 4-1. Clever again is the runner-up in the Dubai Derby overseas. He's out of American Pharoah, which that name will draw a lot of money. But the horse I'm most interested in is goal-oriented. Bob Baffert, of course, he scratched Rodriguez. Rodriguez was actually like a 5-2 second choice. He was going to be your second choice in the race. He scratched out. He's having that lingering foot problem. But goal-oriented is 2 for 2. He's a young horse. He's out of Not This Time, which is a really big stud right now. He really is a beautiful-looking horse. He ran on Derby Day. He was that 3 horse that No Speed was holding all day that day, and he actually held on the front end. A lot of people around the Baffert barn think this horse has a lot of talent. He's a late developing type. That's kind of the type I like. He looks beautiful. I mean, he's absolutely gorgeous. So my eyes will be on him. You got, of course, talking about Lucas. He's bringing his American Promise back again. That's his style. He's going to run in all 3 of them.
That horse got out to not the lead, but was sitting in like 3rd or 4th in the Derby and once they started hitting the turn on the backside, that horse went from 4th to like 15th in no time.
Two things. The track was really playing for closers that day, but there was a lot of speed up there. I'll give a lot of credit to Owen Almighty. We've talked about that. He was up there with the speed and hung around for 4th or 5th, and nobody else on the front end hung around at all. It was a closing favoring track as well as a hot pace, so it was a disaster for anybody on the front end. If you like somebody that was on the front end, I would invest in on maybe the next race because, maybe a more of a fair playing track, they could do something. Maybe not. That's what's so fun about horse racing. You can have all these ideas and analyze data, and sometimes you get everything right, and sometimes you can't get nothing right. So that's the fun part about horse racing. But
well, what about this horse from Great Britain?
Which one?
Looks pretty solid, actually.
Who is it?
Heart of Honor?
Oh, yeah. I haven't looked him up.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that horse a little bit.
I want to look.
It's always hard to tell because you just don't know
their dirt races
level of competition that they're racing.
Has he been running turf or dirt over there? Probably turf. I'd rather see him run turf over there because to me that means he's a bigger horse.
I don't think so. No,
they don't run
turf.
They don't run many dirt races over there. He was out of Honor AP. I think that's AP Fined. Yeah, Heart of Honor. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Clever Again is not that horse that was second in the UAD Derby. That was the Heart of Honor that was second. Clever Again, actually, I like him. He's out of American Pharoah. He won the Hot Springs race and ran a really big number in that race. He's a late developing type too. So I was wrong on Clever Again. Clever Again was the one that just won the race. It was a Hot Springs Stakes. He had beat the Gaiman horse, which was Bafford's horse. He won it pretty impressively. Ran a good time. Came back with a big number. So yeah, and he's out of American Pharoah and Steve Asmussen. So Clever Again is definitely one to keep an eye on. That Heart of Honor, he got second in the UAD Derby to that Daytona horse by a nose.
Second by a nose. And the race before that, of course, it's hard to tell what kind of race it is, but second by a head.
Well, he got second to that Daytona horse that ran the Derby, the Japanese. But I did hear this from several sources. They say if anybody didn't take to the sloppy track more than anybody, it was the Daytona horse that you could just tell he was struggling with.
He got out to the lead too. He was in sitting 3rd or 4th right there with American Promise.
I was listening to somebody's little deal and they were saying you could just tell by the way the horse was running that he didn't handle the going at all.
Well, that Heart of Honor, 6 starts, 2 wins, 4 seconds. So I'm gonna have to look into that horse a little bit. I hate even really looking at those horses. But last year changed my outlook a little bit because I did get on that. Who was that horse last year? Freedom or no? It was I can't even remember. He came in second.
Maybe no third.
Third.
Sierra Leone beat him. Remember, he probably should have won the race. though. He probably ran the best race in the Derby. I think everybody agrees Mystic Dan probably wasn't the best horse. It was either Sierra Leone or him, and he was probably better than Sierra Leone. The jockey actually come over and put his hand on him and he didn't get disqualified, which I'm glad because I had the exact.
I did look over these horses last night, but I haven't dug into it like I really want to. My initial thought is journalism's going to win this race.
I agree with that.
But I'll tell you, I'll probably try to beat them, and it probably won't be big odds. But I think I like the River Thames.
I'm with you.
A close third to Burnham Square and East Avenue, and a real close second to Sovereignty.
Probably ran a better race than Sovereignty that day. He had some problems, but it's hard to close a Gulfstream, so I'll give Sovereignty that. But I'll say this. I'm always the guy that takes the up-and-coming horse, a late developer. If you know me, anything, I always talk about late developers because I feel like they get overlooked. Everybody always gets into the horse that really developed out early, and there's these horses. There's been many of them throughout the years that they're just like humans. Some people really develop out early. There's horses that really don't hit their stride and really develop out their bodies and stuff until later. Maybe that's this goal-oriented. His breeding's top of the line. Not this time. He's gorgeous looking. He was able to hold on the front end on Derby Day when nothing else hardly could. There's a lot of things I like about him. It's Bafford as well.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks good.
He's the mystery horse. He's the mystery horse. Clever Again, I think it's a little bit of a mystery.
Yeah, I was going to say Clever Again. He did run once last year in April, early last year in April.
He ain't facing no grade one.
He laid off until February after that breaking his. Actually, he didn't break his main. He was second in the very first race. He was second by a head.
That happens.
Which, if you get second in your first race, that's pretty impressive. Lays off for almost a year, comes back and gets a really big win
and a big number
at Churchill. Or no, that wasn't at Churchill. That was Oaklawn.
Yeah, I ran a big number in that race.
And then that Hot Springs 4-length win over Gaming. So I'll be looking at Clever again.
And the race that he lost, it was at Keeneland, which get the best babies that time of the year. They get that was some of the early baby races. That was in April at Keeneland. So that was 2-year-olds. That was probably some of the earlier races. And that looks like to me that probably was 4.5 furlongs because they ran it 53 and 4. And then right after that, he stretched out to look like it was a mile and 16th. So he went from 4.5 to mile and 16th. So he was bred for the distance. Once he stretched out, I like to see that maiden win. I've seen that Hot Springs race, and he really looked good in that race, Charlie. His breeding is top line American Pharoah out of a Galileo mare. So, yeah, Steve Asmussen. Yeah, everything. There's a lot to like about him.
I think it's actually a pretty tough race when I kind of sit here and look at it.
I thought that too.
Because goal oriented is hard to read. It's going to be hard to lay off of that. Baffert and 2 for 2.
He don't bring something unless he don't want to get embarrassed. He don't bring something. Usually, like that nice Oaks on Derby Day, when he brings something like that, you better watch it because it's one thing that a proven horse comes. He owes it to that horse. But when he brings these lightly raced horses in, he knows what he's doing, dude. Like him or not, the guy knows what a winner looks like.
Yeah, so that horse is going to be hard to lay off of. You got Journalism, who's obviously the favorite. River Thames looks just as good.
There's a lot to like.
And then you got Sandman, who, I'm not a fan of the Sandman horse, but
you can scrap. Look, it was sloppy that day. It just was, and he didn't finish horrible. I think he finished sixth.
Yeah, he finished 7th.
Okay,
but he closed a little bit like he tried to. Like he likes to.
He did.
And,
it was sloppy.
Slop.
Yeah. But maybe he might have liked the slop. He might not have.
Changing over to Johnny V, too.
Yeah.
I saw that. It was Jose Ortiz the last couple times, and they're changing over to Johnny V. So
I don't think they liked the ride Ortiz gave him in the Derby because Ortiz one of the top guys in the business.
Mm-hmm. So was Johnny V.
I agree. Listen, I love Johnny V, and I think Johnny V's the Ortiz brothers, man, they're just top of the game now.
They are.
But I'm with you. I probably take John Velasquez. I don't know. Them boys can ride. A young Johnny Velasquez all day long. He's starting to get a little age on him. So.
Yeah, and then Clever again. And, I'm looking at this 9-horse, too, that we haven't even talked about. Gosker, been out 3 times, 2 wins.
Whoever wins.
He lost his first race, which we've talked about many a times. Scratch it out. He came in second, only by a length and less than 2 lengths in his very first time out. Comes back next race, wins. That was at Gulfstream, though. But then he won the Lexington.
Yeah. I know whoever does.
Speed figures aren't great, but his speed figures aren't that far off of some of these other horses that we have talked about. So River Thames, his speed figures don't look very good. I don't know how much you put into them. I look at the speed figures.
They go into my handicap, and they used not to, but I definitely use them now because different numbers are factored through different things. They try to look. You can't just look at time of a race because the track plays different each day. Some days it's playing really fast because the dirt's hard. So those figures are supposed to. Certain figures, there's a bunch of different ones. There's probably 7 or 8 big ones, but they all certain things in their algorithm they like better. Some of them's distance traveled. Some of them, they try to factor in was the track playing fast or slow, and that's how they give you the buyer number or Brisbet number. You just got to find a number you like and you trust, and understand how it's put together. That way you can handicap it. There's a lot of analyzing going on horse racing, but whoever does win. If they go into the Belmont, they'll be waiting probably on Sovereignty. He'll probably be there. Baeza, which I might believe might have ran the best race in the Derby. The 2 Wood Memorial horses, Rodriguez, if he gets his foot all the way healthy. Baffert keeps saying that it's not that bad. It's just lingering. And my horse Grande, that's Rapoli's horse. He won with Mind Frame and Fierceness. He said he would have went 3 for 3 if his horse would have run. I'm going to be looking to bet him, especially if I get some good odds on him. But that's his neck of the woods, New York. So he's going to save. He couldn't been in the Preakness anyways because the vet scratched him. So he had to skip the Preakness. He'll be in the Belmont, which is to his liking probably anyways.
So what you got in the Preakness?
I'm going to take go oriented. Go oriented over. I'm going to say go oriented over clever again. I'm going to throw out journalism, even though I really like journalism, and everybody's going to say that's why we don't do it because it's hard to come back and horses aren't right. So no, but my winner is going to be a go oriented. I'm going to say that you're going to see a superstar be born here, and I might be wrong, but it'd be fun if it is. It'll give us another one in that. I'd like to see a stretch duel between journalism and go oriented. Go oriented beats them, so there's two good horses. You know me, Charlie. I like for there to be a lot of good horses in the divisions because I know they'll retire different ones. So I hope as we head into the summer, we get past these Triple Crown races. There's 5 or 6 really big 3-year-olds that can go on to see who can be the best horse of the year.
I want to come off of journalism, but I'm probably going to have to take journalism.
He's the safe
to
bet.
win it.
He's the safe bet. He's the safe bet. He should win the race.
Your goal-oriented looks like now he's only been out twice, and he won 2 different kind of ways.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
But I do tend to think that he probably is going to go more in the
front end.
Yeah.
I know Clever again. He likes to either be close or right on it. River Thames is a little bit of a closer right on it.
Yep, he's going to probably be
American
up. River
Promise.
Thames is going to be up front too.
But goal oriented. He was not on the front, right on the front end. I think he was set like second. He did rate, which is a good
Clever again wants the front for sure.
Yep.
There's your speed, man. I'm taking journalism. That's too many. That's a bunch of speed horses right there. Journalism, you know how he runs. He's going to sit back, stalk, wait for his time, get out in the middle of the track, and Umberto Rispoli is going to get it done. Did you watch the episode or no?
Yeah, I did.
Did you watch it?
Yep, I watched it.
All right. Well, my pick is going to be journalism, and I'm going to put journalism over River Thames, and man, I'm trying to keep myself off of that one, and I'm going to go with the one. I'm probably going to go right now. I'll say 261.
I'm going to go
261.
I'm going to go 168 because I'm greedy, and that's how I bet. I'm a greedy gambler. I'm going to throw journalism out of it, even though I think he's the best horse. I think he's the best horse out of those that are proven. The 2 that I would see is or River Thames. I like to see him. But even him, I think journalism has showed he's better than him if you really look at it. Now, I don't think River Thames is far off from that, though. But go-oriented and Clever, again, to me, are the wild cards. They're like 2 horses that could be really nice. But you won't know until they step up in class and race the big dogs. That don't mean they're not as good, though, because they could be better than the big dogs. This is their opportunity. They're bred to be good ones.
I'm on 2618. You're on 168. Who you putting in your 4th spot? You putting journalism in the 4th spot?
I'm gonna take him out. I'm gonna put. I'm trying to hit big. I'm gonna put Sam. I'm gonna put Sandman in there.
Sandman. What number? Sandman? The 6.
Yeah.
7.
Of course,
7.
I think he's been top 4, but I think he probably is your winner. But I think Owen could be a superstar here. So,
I will say this: I'm gonna look over that 4 horse though. Heart of Honor.
I told you, I bet the Derby. I'm always looking for the horse. I feel like I do that in all the big horse races. Yes, if you gave me one for $1 million, I'd take journalism. There's no doubt I would take journalism. But I think Go Oriented could be the big time horse.
All right. So, real quick, you want to talk about it for a couple minutes, or you want to save it for next week?
Let's save it for next week.
All right, let's save it for next week.
That way we don't have to shorten it up. It's a fun talk about. To give us something to do next week.
What'd you watch? Just the first episode?
First episode's all I got.
So I'm on I think the middle of episode 4, but I'm going to go back. So we'll definitely do that. I'm going to go back and watch episode 1 again. By that time, I'll have the whole thing done. I'll go back and watch it again because I do want to it kind of runs together after you've been through, 3 or 4 episodes. I will tell you this, you're going to like it because it's basically leading up to the Derby. Yeah. I know the first one is kind of they lean on that one guy a lot.
Yeah, they do.
And The only thing I don't like about the whole thing is that he was pretty much the first guy they showed on the whole thing. They should have started somewhere else.
Well, they
other
wanted
than that
they wanted to
goofball.
draw. They wanted to draw in somebody. You know, he's a big
Goofball.
Yeah, they
He's a big goofball.
They wanted to listen. The track. Everybody knows what the track and the racing industry needs, and I agree with them. They need new fans. They need the younger blood. A lot of people's never watched the sport or followed it. It is fun to watch. There's a lot of good storylines in it. They don't want to make it boring and just horse racy to the purists. They already got them. They're trying to bring in that younger crowd, and they need to bring in the younger crowd. So I understand what they're trying to do.
As it goes, though, it gets really more kind of into keying on a couple horses that are trying to get to the Derby and their jockeys and their owners and trainers. So they get your boy. Was Rapoli in the first episode?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a couple other guys you're going to like too. They get into some of the other trainers, Brad Cox, Kenny McPeak. McPeak is very likable.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to tell you, I've told you this. I looked into being a trainer and I talked to some people what you need to do, kind of person you need to be. Half of it's being good with the horses. The other half, you need to be charismatic because you got to convince billionaires to go to the auction and spend millions of dollars. And pretty much it's a waste of money because it's not a good investment. A lot of people lose, but people do it for fun and the hope to get there. But you got to convince a really smart person to spend millions of dollars of bad investment. So you got to be a salesman. Most of your big time trainers, they're charismatic. They just are. There's a lot of really good horsemen that work on the backside of Churchill Downs that are wearing rough blue jeans, a little rough around the edges. They might be better horsemen. This is what I've heard. But they don't have that charisma to them. You need to be good with horses, but you also got to be that salesman too. So I would say what you're saying about Kenny McPeak, Bafford's kind of that way. Lucas is that way. Pletcher. These guys aren't just farm guys. These guys are kind of smooth operators.
Yeah, so you'll like it as it goes. Did you like the first episode?
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
It gets better. I think it gets better. As it goes. So, all right, I think that's about it. I just got a text says Finns versus Colts in Week 1 in Indianapolis.
Anthony Richardson, baby.
Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones get to battle.
I got a 1 of 10, like a really high-end card. I need Richardson to have a big year. Dude, that card would be a monster. It's like, not only is it a 1 of 10, it's a like rookie sensation. It's the big gold one. It's a PSA 10. If he's good, it'd be like, I don't know, a $1,500 card, $2,000 card. I need him to be good.
One thing he's never been called is a rookie sensation.
Well, he had a solid start, and then he had that injury and kind of got off a little bit there. But they had some other issues too.
Yeah, and then said he was too tired to play and needed out.
He got a bad rap for that. Even though I said all this stuff, but guess what? I'm playing the other side.
You
now.
should get a bad rap for that.
I know.
I
think he's bad, but I literally got a steal on the card. I got the card for like $50 or $60.
The dude that sold it got a steal.
No, that's a good gamble. If you're telling me that can be a $1,200, $1,300 card, if he's good, the Colts are still.
Could be a $5 card.
What I've read, the Colts are still like that's their guy, and they brought Daniel Jones in to actually push him.
Josh, who you want, Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson?
I like Daniel Jones. It ain't that. I just need him to be good for the card's sake.
Oh man, your heart's going against your pocket.
Yep, it happens. It's a good gamble. I don't care. It's a good gamble.
His favorite player in the league, Daniel Jones, against his biggest possible profitable card.
I'm trying to buy Zach Wilson's right now too. So if that tells you anything,
you better get Quinn Ewers.
It's just like speculating on the stock market.
You better get some Will Howard. You better get some Kyle McCord, baby.
I like the Ewers angle. I like it. I think the kid could be good.
I'm still sticking with Kyle McCord. He's taking Jalen Hurts' spot. Mark my word. All right, that's it. We'll catch y'all next week. Blitz the bookie.
See ya.
Facts all day. Anthony's like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate. But when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. nights, hustle deals on the line. Charlie Scassy's gonna make you shine. Anthony's heart where the numbers combine. Put your cash down, ride the incline. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. From the tip off to the final play, they grind. Mike's on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a bond you'll find. The bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. Final play, they grind. Mike's on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a bond you'll find. Bond you'll find. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the